I never believed in ghost stories. You know, those village tales about haunted houses and creepy legends that old ladies whisper about at the well. But after what happened that night, I'm not so sure anymore. It all started with a stupid bet at a party. My friend Kostya, half drunk, challenged me to spend a night in the old house on the edge of the village, the one locals called the Mirror House. They said something was off about it, that the mirrors there showed things they shouldn't. I laughed it off, called it nonsense, and fueled by beer and bravado, agreed to do it. My friends egged me on, but Lena, my girlfriend, just shook her head. "Don't be an idiot, Sasha. I don't like this idea." But I was already too fired up to back down. The house stood on the outskirts, overgrown with weeds, its gates sagging and windows smashed, gaping like empty eye sockets. Our village is small, everyone knows everyone, and this house had been the subject of rumors since Soviet times. They said an old mirror maker lived there, crafting mirrors so clear they showed the truth. No one ever explained what that meant, but after his death, the house was abandoned and the mirrors stayed on the walls. Nobody touched them, too scared. I got there at dusk. The sun was setting, painting the sky blood red, and the air smelled of damp earth and rotting leaves. I brought a flashlight, a sleeping bag, and a thermos of coffee, not for courage, just to stay awake. The gate creaked when I pushed it open, a sharp sound like nails on glass that made me freeze. "Relax, Sasha," I told myself. "It's just an old house." But my heart was already beating a little faster. Inside, it was cold, even though the September air outside was still warm. The floorboards groaned under my sneakers, each step echoing like the house was answering me. It smelled of mold and something metallic, like rust. I switched on the flashlight, its beam catching peeling wallpaper stained with damp and old furniture draped in dusty sheets. In the corner of the living room hung a mirror, large in a heavy wooden frame, its glass cloudy, like it was coated in mist. I stepped closer and my reflection looked off. My face was the same, but my eyes seemed empty, like I was looking at myself, but not quite. "Nonsense," I muttered, turning away. But the feeling of being watched didn't go away. I decided to set up in the living room. I spread out my sleeping bag on the floor, pulled out my phone, and snapped a couple of stories for my friends. Proof I was the fearless hero chilling in a creepy house. The signal was weak, but I managed to post a photo with the caption, "Who's afraid of ghosts?" Then I sat down, leaning against the wall, and listened. The silence was heavy, like the air had thickened. The only sound was a faint creaking from upstairs, on the second floor. Maybe the floorboards, maybe the wind in the cracks. An hour later, it got colder. My breath came out in puffs of vapor, which shouldn't happen in September. I rubbed my hands together, trying to warm up, when I heard it. A soft but distinct sound, a scrape like someone dragging their nails across glass. I froze, staring into the darkness. The flashlight beam trembled in my hand, catching bits of the room, an old couch, a cracked lampshade, the mirror. The sound came again, louder, rhythmic, like something scratching from inside the glass. "Hey, anyone there?" I said aloud, more to myself than anyone else. My voice sounded muffled, like it was trapped in cotton. No answer, but the scratching grew louder. I stood up, feeling goosebumps crawl up my spine. It's just the wind, I thought, but my throat was dry. I stepped toward the mirror, holding the flashlight like a weapon. The cloudy glass showed my face, but now there was something else. A shadow, not mine. It stood behind me, but when I spun around, nothing. Just an empty room, dust swirling in the beam of light. "Bullshit," I whispered, but my voice shook.
I stepped back, keeping my eyes on the mirror. The shadow appeared again, closer now. It was a figure, tall, hunched, with arms that looked unnaturally long and thin. It didn't move, just stood there in the reflection, staring at me. I felt cold grip my legs, like icy fingers wrapping around them. This isn't real, I told myself, but I couldn't look away. The figure slowly raised a hand, pointing at me, or at something behind me. I whipped around, but again, nothing. Just the creak of floorboards, louder now, closer, like footsteps. I swung the flashlight to the corner of the room, and the beam caught another mirror, a smaller one on the wall. In it, the same figure, but closer, almost touching my shoulder. I yelled, unable to hold it in, and bolted for the door. It was locked. I yanked the handle, but it wouldn't budge, like someone was holding it from the other side. "Open the damn door," I shouted, pounding on the wood. Behind me, a new sound, a low, guttural whisper, right in my ear. I couldn't make out the words, but the sound made the hair on my neck stand up. I turned, pressing my back against the door, and saw that every mirror in the room, and there were more than I had noticed before, reflected that same figure.
It was moving now, slowly stepping toward me, though the room was empty. I ran to the window, smashed it with my elbow, ignoring the pain, and tumbled out into a patch of nettles. I ran without looking back until I reached the village. My phone, sleeping bag, and thermos stayed behind. I never went back for them. The next day, I told Kostya and Lena everything. Kostya laughed, said I just had too much beer and imagined it all. Lena stayed quiet, but her look told me she knew something she wasn't saying. I tried to convince myself it was just fear, my mind playing tricks. But a week later, Kostya sent me a message. He'd found my phone in the house. Some local kid had brought it to him. There was a new video on it, one I hadn't recorded. I played it, and my blood ran cold. The video showed me asleep in my sleeping bag in that living room. The camera moved, like someone was holding the phone, circling me. And in the mirror behind me was that figure, hunched with long arms, smiling. Its smile was wide, inhuman, with teeth that glinted like shards of glass. The video cut off as the figure leaned down, whispering something in my ear. I don't sleep at night anymore. Every time I pass a mirror, I brace myself to see it again. And sometimes, out of the corner of my eye, I think I do. It's there, watching, waiting.